Very good afternoon to you, Rufus. Like I said, so the market 44 points away from that psychological level of 4,000 points. Will we see the market crossing it this week?
Well, the market has been on a good momentum for beginning this week, and feeding from last week actually. We've seen foreigners coming into the market, accounting for almost 50% of the activity. So I guess if they really stay on for this week, then we are likely to see a crossover to above 4,000 level.
Talk us through some of the gainers and the losers. If I look at the loser board, we did have a housing finance falling back in today's trading session. Is there any particular reason why we saw a fall off in that stock?
Well, we are seeing a bit of correction, mostly on the banking stocks, bearing in mind that these are the stocks that really drove the market in the last quarter. So I guess we're seeing a bit of correction on that sector. Well, we'll likely see a correction of about 5% before we see a bit of stability, perhaps in the next 2-3 months coming.
Well, we did have Longhorn publishers out with a profit warning for the full year 2012. Could you talk us through the kind of environment that Longhorn is currently operating in and whether the environment is likely to change going forward?
Well, actually, the stock is, or let me say the farm is in a very tough environment right now. It is one of those farms that, a one client, one product type of a company. And as we speak right now, one of its biggest clients is actually the government. And the last 6 months have been tough. The government has actually been reducing its spending on the education sector. And bearing in mind that actually about 80% of its sales actually come from the government, or they sell to the government. So we are seeing a bit of a revision downwards of its sales target. Actually, about a week ago, they gave a profit warning, saying that they could face a reduction of about 25% of its profit, which means, bearing in mind, okay, last 6 months, the first half of last year, they had about $1.6 million in terms of profits. So a 25% reduction, that will mean it'll take it all the way down to $1.2 million. That aside, there are also issues regarding a proposed plan by the government to impose a 16% value addition tax or value added tax on textbooks. And 80% of its business comes from sale of textbooks. So I think that the environment is going to get tough for the publisher. And I think going forward, we are keeping a sell recommendation for that stock.
We have Jubilee Insurance as well as eGuard closing their books in terms of a dividend payout later on this week. What kind of performance can we expect from the two counters for the end of the week?
Well, on the side of eGuards, yes, both of the companies, eGuards and Jubilee, as you say, they're closing their dividend books by the close of this week. They've had good first half results. On average, they've had over 25% in terms of jump of its net earnings. So I think it's in order, to share some of those profits with the shareholders. So in terms of price performance, yeah, you're likely to see a bit of activity until perhaps tomorrow, end of day tomorrow, in the course of Thursday. As we're likely to see retailers coming in to just take a bite of that dividend. So in terms of closing prices, I think we are likely to see an up jump of about 2% on both, give or take.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Rufus. That was Rufus Mwanyasi, investment analyst at Tsavo Securities, joining us from our studios in Nairobi.